Good evening, all of you. I hope all of you are doing well. It's great to see all of you today at 7 p.m. joining us in this late evening session. This is our seventh show of Becoming a Knowledge Worker, and with every show, the kind of knowledge that we are getting out of this series is getting better. This particular show called Becoming a Knowledge Worker is hosted for all of you who are young students of higher education. It is hosted for all the young professionals, especially the alumni of TKW's Institute of Banking and Finance and our students who are in the first leg of their career. So, we welcome you to one more show of this series. And today, on my seventh show of Becoming a Knowledge Worker, which is going live on Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn, I have my youngest guest ever. Yes, I have the youngest person I've ever had on this show who's become a president of his company. So, if you also want to learn how to quickly rise to the top of an organization, we have just the right person for you. Be ready with your questions and join me in welcoming our young West Delhiite who became president of a company from an accountant in just 20 years. So let's give him a round of applause in TKW's remote style. Welcome, Harpreet. A warm welcome to you.
Thank you so
So
much, Amit ji. Thank you.
now,
And it's
Har.
always been a privilege. In fact, I would say that I have always been excited and looking forward to meeting you, TKWD Institute, and all your faculty. Interaction with your team has always been very, very engaging, and it has been mutual benefiting me. And always I have learned from whatever knowledge session we have had in past. Thank you for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you. You've always accepted our invites. You've been very kind. You've shared a lot of knowledge. And again, you are here. Today, this session, uh, you know, uh, before I start the session, let me give a bit of your introduction to our audiences. Uh, he joined Yes Bank in 2012 after leaving Dhanlakshmi Bank as the zonal credit head. And from zonal credit head, in just 10 years, he's the president and credit head for business banking here. In his earlier stints, he has served Tata Capital, ICICI Bank, Citigroup, and all of that after studying BCom honors from Guru Gobind Singh College. Apart from BCom honors, he studied chartered accountancy. He's done a postgraduate diploma in insurance and risk management. He studied insolvency and bankruptcy law. He's done Leaders Excellence program from Harvard Square, and very recently he's done an advanced general management program. So we have a terrific person for you who has all these learning experiences, and in a short stint of 20 years, he's become the president of his organization. So, Harpreet, this session, these talks that we hold are informal, they are candid. You know, they are not a typical corporate interview. They are about the first 30 years of your life. They
Right.
are a way to share with young professionals your career secrets, your success mantras, so that all the youngsters can get inspired and learn from you. So let's be very casual.
Sure, sure.
Let's the corporate
I'm
diplomacy
I'm
aside.
loving it. I would want to get into such discussion. Thank you for giving me.
So
Yeah.
let me start and make you uncomfortable in the very beginning by asking you what was your first salary when you joined as an accountant in 2001?
Uh, so in 2001, it was just about I was completing my chartered accountancy, and before that, I had joined a accountancy firm. I think it would be about uh, 2 lakh rupees, I would remember if correctly. 20,000 was something as starting that I got as an accountant.
That's
So I was just about to, I had already completed my CA inter and I was in the middle of my CA final. And that's when I got an opportunity to work with account firm. And that was again a rich experience. Salary didn't matter to me much, but then it was a good experience. And I think that was a humble beginning, a good start, I would say. Yeah.
So he started his career with a mere 20,000 rupees, or probably even less than that, in his first job. So as he just told us, the first salary does not matter. It's just a learning experience. So how did you get in this job? You did your BCom honors, and
Yes.
still, I mean, in 2002, getting that 20,000 rupees would have been still a good placement to
Yeah.
begin with.
Yeah.
How did you
So
get in
it
this
was.
job?
Yeah, yeah. So I'll tell you that how did I get, because I was working with a CA firm, because it's an articleship that you generally have to do along with CA firm. And during the course of my CA firm, again, that was an enriching experience because I have got multi level exposures, right from making the ITRs to presenting in front of, kind of custom excise and all of the departments. And suddenly, in between, there used to be a accountancy firm which was connected to our CA firm. And they used to see that how good I have been into accountancy. So that's when I was almost in last 6 months. I was about to complete my chartered accountancy. I thought, why to wait? Why not get into something which is there? So probably this was kind of a captive start that I got immediately, and that's where 20,000, as you rightly said, used to be a good amount even for an accountancy. But they used to consider me already as become chartered accountants accountant. They used to call me as a half chartered accountant. Let me
You were
tell you
a
that.
half a CA that
Yeah,
time.
yeah,
It was
yeah.
just the finals that were
Correct.
left.
Yes, yes, yes.
So, before getting into college, what kind of a student were you in school? Were you studious, meritorious, athletic, or clueless?
Okay, so it's again giving me a nostalgic feeling because it's taking me back to my, school days, and I still remember one thing was that I was not very studious, to be very frank and honest. Till 10th, I think I used to enjoy most. I used to take fun, have full fun. I was always a racer. I have one cross country race with the school, so I have always been focusing towards sports. That was always there. I have been a marathoner also, a regular marathoner. And during my school days, I remember 10th was a turning point for me because my parents always used to guide me and tell me that वो कहते हैं ना पढ़ोगे लिखोगे बनोगे जो आप वो वाला हाल था कि 10th and 12th are 2 years when you have to focus the most, and probably that critical thing had always deep dived into my mind, and I also always made sure that 10th and 12th are the main years of studying. And that's how it went also. Even in my family, whenever I discuss, they say okay पहले तो कुछ करते नहीं थे, suddenly in 10th and 12th what happened to you? It was a complete u-turn. So from 10th onwards it was serious studies. Till 10th I was completely full of fun, not focusing towards. But one thing which I always mention is that three idiots come to my mind. I have always never been a crammer or somebody who will keep doing that ratification. I will always do a little bit of it, but at least understanding the meaning of it and making sense, only that was something which I used to follow. And that I still say is a big thing which has helped me out. Even during my CA, I would say that people used to take a dummy or something. They would always want to go, not do their articleship seriously. But that is where I feel is the best part. You learn when you even do a little bit of it, but make sure that you make a meaningful, thing out of it. That's important.
Super. So, Three Idiots is embodying you, as I understand. Uh, what were you like since you were athletic, you were into racing, running, and very less into studies? Did you get scolded by your parents for studying?
Yes, yes, many times, multiple times. Till 10th, yes. After 10th, it was the reverse. They will always say, I will wake up at almost like 3 to 4 in the morning, and I will make sure that 4 hours in the morning I will study. This U-turn happened only after 10th. Till then, I always used to get scolding of studying, and after that, there was a time during CA time. I remember my mother will say, "Have food, don't study too much. You're not taking care of your health." So that kind of change I have seen in myself, and that really helped. So I think critical time, I had made sure that study is very very important, but along with that, your holistic development, your playing fun and everything is also very important.
All the 7 interviews that I've done, all the successful leaders have their parents scolding them till 10th class. So it's the same trend repeating.
Absolutely.
What did you want to become when you were a child?
To be very honest, till 10th, that clarity was missing, but somehow, I was always fascinated by uh, civil servants and also by NDA. I
Okay.
always felt that I will go and get into NDA or do something for the country, and either be a civil servant. This thought has always been there. My parents wanted me to become a doctor or an engineer, so this
Okay.
was a in clash in between both the things, but my destiny took me to somewhere else. So neither doctor, engineer, nor civil servant. I went into something which actually made, and that also I will share how that coincidence happened, and how that change really brought me to a destination which I feel is the best for me. Yeah,
How did it happen? When did you decide
yeah.
to take up commerce?
So honestly, after 10th, I had got good marks. I think around 90s. So I easily got admission for non-medical. As I said, my parents were initially insisting me to get into medical, but I was not at all interested. I didn't like physics, bio. My sister had done on the biomedical side, so I was not at all interested. And I was good at mathematics. So that's where the fascination came for accountancy. To be very frank, I got myself admitted into non-medical, but I pushed my parents to withdraw that application for non-medical and got myself again into commerce. How it happened? My one of my teacher met me during that admission process and told me that this child is good in mathematics. Why don't you take accountancy? And my mother was with me, and I said, see, I have been telling them I don't like physics, I don't like chemistry. I want something related to mathematics and accountancy. So that ma'am, I still remember Seema Raj. Her husband was a chartered accountant. She said there is good scope in accountancy, and why don't you pick this up and you can do it well. I think that moment I still remember. Immediately, I got into the vice principal room along with my mother, and vice principal started convincing me people don't get admission into science, and you are, kind of taking back your name and trying to get into, commerce. I think you are going to make a mistake. I said, but this is something which I love and like. I love mathematics. I probably will be doing good in accountancy. I want that. So that was a conscious decision. I think in course of journey, some way you get the god figures or the mentors who come and be saviors in your journey and help you come out of that crisis situation. I keep remembering that situation always and keep telling that the destiny plays a big role. This was much late. At the last moment, nick of the moment, it happened, and I was kind of saved from the science stream, which I never wanted. So I think
This
what
was
you love, you
very
should
bold
do.
of you. I mean, this was
Correct.
very bold at the at that age. You were 15 probably, and you went against your parents' will, the principal's will. And yes, it was very unconventional. Somebody who's good in maths would take up non-medical. Uh,
Absolutely.
Interesting. So then, were you clear that you will do CA post that, or
No, 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 no.
that
I,
happened
I
later?
didn't knew. I didn't even knew what CS stood for.
Okay.
That's where the hunt started happening. What will I do? Will I do MBA? Will I do CA? Will I do something else? I'll do CP or something. That's where I started inquiring about it. I know I then went to CA Institute, finding out what all they have, and then there on the journey started. And then I thought probably this is where my destination is going to take me, and this is where I want to be also. Got fascinated into, and all my kind of likings, the body, the conditioning happened that pushed me towards what I really wanted to be.
आई ऑफन रिपीट, अगर किसी चीज को पूरी शिद्दत से चाहो तो सारी कायनात उसे मिलाने में जुड़ जाती है।
Absolutely right. Correct.
The world steps aside to let pass the man who knows where he's going. तो आपके साथ वही हुआ, the whole universe conspired. uh,
100%
Great.
right.
So now that you got into commerce, and of course, as I understand, you got your first job, which was a captive one, and then you completed your CA, which opened the doors for this city financial BPO that
Correct.
you started working in.
Yes.
Uh, After that, you did a PG diploma. Right now at TKW's IBF, we promote the idea of doing postgraduate diploma in banking and finance over general management. And way back, you also did a postgraduate diploma in insurance and risk management instead of MBA or PGDM. How did you arrive at that decision?
It's a very good question actually, because that was another question going on in my mind also. See, what happens is that, like the topic of today is also a knowledge trainer. See, a knowledge trainer, especially if, first of all, when you get into some level, entry point, then you always need to get into a technical aspect of certain field.
Right.
While I would have loved to do MBA, but that would have given me a general aspect of the entire management skill. What I was looking for to become a technical expert into certain area. My area where I have got entry into was risk management. I wanted to become better equipped with the tenets and expertise into that particular domain. And knowledge expert also means that you get that knowledge into that expert domain where you can excel and do the best part as your abilities, and then you take it forward from there. Probably that was not a right time for me to get into a general management one, because I was in the start of my career. So I think that really helped me to take a faster progression during the early time of my year. So I will also suggest, during 5 years of your entry point, you should look for some specific field where you really want to be an expert about. Not only be expert, after gaining knowledge, you have to practice that. Once you put that into practice, you will be able to learn a lot of tenets, and then probably the learnings from there on. What we also do is, once we have developed an expertise, we build it from there. We even go to a level where we start innovating, brainstorming, bringing new upgradation levels. And if you see, most of the successful people have got into specific field, reach up till middle management or somewhere, and then there, from there, when you take a leap to a top management or a senior management, probably you need another level of skill set that you need to gain, and then you get into the other. So
So I
that was the time. Till then, I wanted to be expert of some domain, and then look forward for becoming a bigger thing.
So you're getting closer to what I really want to draw out from today's session about career strategies. But now that you're explaining your strategy on choosing that domain and building that expertise before going into general management, I saw a lot of correlation between upskilling and growth in your career. So for the students and the young professionals who are here with us, I want to tell all of them that you did a CA and that's when you got your job of a credit manager. Then you
Right.
did PGD and you became a regional head in Tata. And then very recently you did this general management MBA from IIM Ahmedabad and you became from EVP to president. So you
That's
do
true.
all
That's
of
true.
this learning out of interest, or is it your chartered career plan that you're following?
No, actually, it all happened as a planned way, because it was not a coincidence. Let me tell you, because I have, during the course of my journey, starting from a entry point to lower management to a middle management till middle management, it was all going fine. But middle management is an area, or probably even before, you start thinking that way, that probably your area, as long as you have the skill set, you'll be able to manage, but you can't go to next level till the time you learn more. Whatever you have been doing is will make you good enough for that level. If you really want to go up, you have to learn those skills to enter into the next. I keep giving this example to my team, because I have also been a knowledge trainer for last 5 years into various streams, and I have been associated with many institutions and doing on this. See, when you are in earth, when you reach up to the surface of earth, when you want to get into the space also, na, your the kind of the instrument or whatever the rocket you take, it has the capacity to take you to the surface of the earth. Beyond that level it doesn't have. So from there on you have to get into a separate rocket which will take you to the next level. So it happens that way only. It's exactly on the same track.
So you embody a true knowledge worker. You know, in TKW's, our philosophy is that anyone who wants to succeed as a knowledge worker has to keep doing knowledge acquisition, knowledge sharing, and knowledge leverage. So I see that regularly in your career, you acquire knowledge, you're constantly sharing knowledge, and you're leveraging it to grow. And probably
Absolutely
that's how you rose to such a great
correct.
position in a mere 20 years. So you seem to love public speaking. You know, I
Yes,
see that you're active with Toastmasters to the
yes,
extent of
yes,
becoming vice president of your chapter. You know, you visit higher education institutes as a guest speaker. You speak at
yes.
professional forums like ASSOCHAM and FICCI. You know, you also speak at industry associations. So, when did your interest develop in public speaking?
So as I said, this all happened. This is a conscious decision that has happened. See, I have got into a mentorship. The moment I started feeling that, there is a monotonous feeling started happening in my mind, and I really wanted to take that faster access or a faster growth path. The moment you start feeling that, you look around for the guidance. The moment I started looking around, I found few people who have actually got into a path of a faster progress and like-minded people, and then I started taking guidance from them. That's where I also found these are the people who have not been doing what they have been doing in past. One, they have been upskilling, they have been learning, they have been bringing in visibility, internal and external. Everyone has a circle of influence, and in that circle of influence you have to make sure that how am I being perceived and how am I contributing through my actions and efforts. So when you have to outgrow and you really want to achieve something faster, you also have to put in the similar efforts and you have to make some contribution or action which will actually take you there. So through that mentorship, the coaching, and through then I started looking out for, okay, how can I increase my external visibility? That can happen through adding on knowledge. So I started gaining knowledge, but knowledge will not take you there. Adding knowledge will add information, you have to put that also into practice. But before putting that into practice, you have to gain guidance from the people who have walked that path. Then you actually have to take guidance from them, go ahead and walk that path, and through that only the external visibility, when it comes, the knowledge is there, you know the way how you have to walk. But then you then have to also by kind of connect the dots and move ahead and try and kind of experience that through your, and it's like kind of small steps for a bigger, first you have to create that vision. Okay, this is what I want to achieve, this is how I want to achieve, and that guidance you have taken from people who have actually walked that path. And then you start adding kind of small dots every single day. That's where you cross that path. And that start with conditioning that you keep in your mind. First you have to create that vision, then you have to believe in that vision. Once you believe in that vision, you have to conceive, okay, this way I will do, create that bigger picture, break them down into a smaller thing, and then move that small effort, and the cumulative will look like outstanding. I would have not thought one meeting I went, okay, the other meeting got, or the interaction really, and I started enjoying it so much so that internal and external both visibility started happening. It's like an infection. Once you
Yes.
get in somewhere, you get infected, and then you start spreading that out.
So, were you afraid of public speaking when you were in school?
Honestly, yes.
When was the
Honestly,
first
yes.
time you did a public
I
presentation?
would shiver. I would shiver. I would not. I was very, very introvert. To be very frank, my family also says this. We have seen a lot of change in you. I used to. I was completely introvert. I would not come up to the stage. Stage was a big thing. Even in my friendly circle, I would not speak that much. But then, slowly, gradually, this change has happened.
When was the first time you
And
spoke publicly?
um, I spoke maybe, I think, some 15 years back. I
Okay,
remember for some office function or something. And then
so
slowly and gradually that fear of public speaking went off.
So, for all the listeners, this is a very important thing for you to note that you could right now be very scared of public speaking, but as suggested by Mr. Singh, we can overcome that fear by regular practicing. And once it catches up to you, it is infectious. You get addicted to the pleasure of speaking. And that's where your external branding starts. That's when people start taking a note of how you think and what you are potentially capable of doing. So, coming to external branding, I have a question. How important do you think is personal branding to grow in an organization?
It's very, very important. I'll tell you that sometimes we have this kind of a feeling that what work I am doing, or my boss, or my immediate connected stakeholders only makes sense. But I think beyond a certain level, you start resonating an experience with which you only not remain, kind of limited to the immediate work that you are doing, but you actually start collaborating and kind of accumulate. It's a snowballing effect. What I'll tell you that what you mentioned is that after certain level you start creating your own brand. How it happens is that you after certain level you become a aggregator. It's not that your only work will impact. You become aggregator in this sense. There is a cycle. There are multiple people reporting into you, and then if you go down one level down, there are further multiple people reporting into you, and then further down, if you go, there's a chain of people. You started as a small worker, immediately up the ladder you keep on adding teams, and once that hierarchy is in place, you are in control of certain segment, unit, department, or whatever. Now every action of yours will have a influence on one level down, immediately will get drilled down and further down. So what happens is, even it is said till today is that people under you take a reflection from the leader. It is said that teams are reflection of a leader. So after reaching maybe probably certain level, which can be middle, lower, depending upon the time of institution and the kind of span of control you have, every single action of yours will have an impact down. So you start building a brand. Some people even question me that you are at a certain level in this institution. Don't you feel like creating something of your own in certain institution? I said I am building my own brand. I I own this work which has been given to me or my department or whatever as my own this thing, and that's where I feel that this is my own setup and this is how I am creating. So back to your point that how we impactful a person is within the institution as an individual actually becomes a kind of a brand through his own actions. And that's where it is said that whatever you feel, believe, and the way the cultural values that you create will go right up to the bottom of the hierarchy in the institution.
So, this is
Hope I have answered the
branding
question.
downwards. So, we are talking
Yes,
about
yes,
branding downwards here. But
correct.
actually, you must have also branded upward to justify the roles that you got later on. So,
Yes,
how did you do that?
yes, yes. And that again is a very good question. See, for and whatever upskilling we are doing, we are keeping that vision in place. See, you get promoted only when you have upgraded yourself to the level which is there, at least next or up till next. Till that time you don't get that responsibility.
Correct.
So when you upskill yourself and you start owning that and start taking additional responsibility, that additional part which others are not doing or probably you really want to do, or you start taking up that ownership of the next level responsibilities, that's when you outgrow your level of responsibility, and that's when you are giving a signal to the institutions and to your seniors that I am ready for this level and I have prepared up both, one on the experience side, on the overall learning side, and as well as the technical side also.
So
So
I want
in a way,
everyone to
you are
note this.
creating a brand. Yeah,
I want everyone to note this very, very important thing that he mentioned. You know, everyone who works with us, everyone who works with any of our group companies, students, alumni, that first you own the next responsibility and then you get designated to do it. It's not the other way around. Many people keep waiting that one day when I get promoted, I will do that job. You know, but
correct.
first you own it and then you get that opportunity to run it. So that's a
Let
very
me add
important.
one more finer line to it, that we keep
Yeah,
telling people, you push that upside so much that there is no place for you but to be being placed at a next level. Sometime you
yeah,
outgrow your level of responsibility to such a level that you are overqualified for job to be taken up to the next level. It happens
absolutely.
many a time. We keep telling
Absolutely.
people that you have really take kind of upgraded yourself so well that we there's a automatic upgradation which will happen in the due course. So
I
you keep
wanted to
pushing people up in that way.
the people down the line, you push them up, so you there's no
Correct.
space for you here. You
So
know,
both ways. You keep, first of all, you create that succession planning for you, because the moment you want to go up, that will happen only when you also have your succession planning in ready. See,
correct,
it
correct.
starts from there. It's a two way. You upgrade your people so that they push you up, and the same way you push upside so that people, the entire kind of the upgradation happen in the institution. It's a smooth transition,
So right now,
and
what
you
we've
don't have to look
captured,
out also. You don't have to look out for people.
correct. So this is something which probably no book in the world would have captured. You know, but this is truly the way to grow in an organization. You know, whether it is banking
Absolutely.
sector or anything in
Exactly.
the world. You know, this is the way you could grow actually to the top. Uh, okay, now first 10 years of your career, you know, you switched 5 jobs, and next 10 years of your career you stuck with the same job. So you've tried both the things, you know, you've experienced both the things. Now what is your learning on job switching, and what advice would you give to young professionals about pacing the job switch, because everyone will switch jobs, but what advice would you give about the pace?
Again, a very good question, because the youngsters today don't even wait for a year to switch over the job. This again has been question which has been frequently coming to me while I've been speaking to HR or many other people. See, times have changed, but I will tell you my perspective to it. One thing is that even if I have made a switch, probably it would be minimum 2 years that I have stick to one institution. Okay, and it happens during the start of beginning of your career that you are also trying to kind of understand and touch feel certain sector segments and the kind of roles that where you find yourself to be doing justice to it, and you are also trying to get hold of many things. Probably even when I started, I'll tell you that the first job I got was of operations. 2 years I did operations. I understood the basic tenet. I got into business role relationship where I was even handling the customer side for about 2 years, I guess. So it was a business relationship credit role where I was sitting on the other side of the table and trying to understand the customer problems. And then I moved into credit side with ICICI Bank.
Right,
So I was then knowing both side of it, and I was able to do better justice while I was sitting on the credit chair and then even being a sanction in charge. From there onwards, what I realized was there was even a dilemma during certain period when I was thinking of changing over from the industry also.
oh,
That's again a question that even comes in mind. Probably, am I in the right business? Am I in the right role? Am I in the right department? So that's a period which we generally call, even in businesses, a gestation period. These are gestation period times when you are trying to touch and feel, and it's a gear. While you're driving a car, you're putting into first gear, got into second, third. Probably you may have to come back to second and see, okay, my adjustments are fine. Till 5 years initial of your career, you are trying to also experience various roles. One, second, you are also trying to see where my skill set best matches the role. Till 5 years of the experience, it makes okay sense, even if you are switching roles, switching departments, switching companies also. Slowly and gradually, my personal feeling, even the guidance I've got from seniors, was that you have to stabilize. It makes good sense for you to stabilize under certain company or institution where you see your progress happening, then only your progress will be fast. Otherwise, you may tend to become a job hopper. Never be a job hopper. Minimum stint, that time used to be always convinced that minimum 3 years one should stick to certain institution or a role. After that, one should even look for a rotation. It is always advised that even if you have worked under certain role beyond 3 years, then you have overworked in certain role or a department also. You should look out and add more experiences. Probably you are having a vision of getting into a general management role probably 10, 15, 20 years down the line. So all that is a roadmap that you're creating for yourself. With that in mind, I would suggest that people should stick to minimum 2 years. Depending upon the role that you've got in, you are liking the role. That actually is the work which is value adding you, and you are growing as a better professional every single day, and you are able to see your better version of yourself. If all of these things are happening, it is always advisable to have minimum 2 to 3 years of sticking to a certain thing. It could be a company, it could be a role, it could be a department. Because it is like, if you have got into certain segment, you will be able to learn and value add and contribute only if you stick there for a certain period. If you really don't stick to it, that will as if be neutralized the moment you leave that part. That's my personal feeling.
So it's a very important thing, the right pacing. It should not neither be too short a stint, otherwise you won't be able to express yourself there. And
Correct.
if you see 2 3 years you're in the same role, then it's probably time to add more challenges in the same organization or move ahead. Very valuable input there. Now, one of the things you mentioned just now was moving from operations to customer facing. And I have never seen a person on the top who's not been into personal customer facing roles. So today, as a president in credit, how much of your job entails selling skills? How important is selling a skill in your today's role?
Foremost, I think this is one of the important, I would say, top skill that you require. It is not necessarily that you're selling to a customer. Generally a notion comes to our mind is that we selling means that you are interacting with customer and you are persuading or convincing him to buy a product. It is not that way. Selling means anything, even inside there are many kind of customer. So internal stakeholders are also our customer. Even if I have to take a certain decision, I'm selling him a decision that this is where I feel has to be done because of 1 2 3 4 5 things. This is one of the skill set which will always create harmony in the system and collaboration in the system. So this is one of the top skill set one should always have if you have to rise up the ladder fast. And not only that, for surviving in the institution, this is one skill set you should always learn right from the beginning of your career. And I would always suggest you have that from the beginning of the career, because then you know ground realities more. You are aware of the challenges. Once you go up the ladder, probably you know the routes. If you are connected to the routes, it will be easy for you. Once the airplane flies, it flies from the runway up till some height. You keep on counting where I am, and then it happens only when you know from where you are calculating. So it's always important to be connected to the roots, and I think connecting to the customer is the most important part. For that, the selling skill is the basic element. I would say this is the basic starting point.
So, what are the top three skills you feel are necessary for success in today's world?
Okay, the many, but three things which I think has helped me the most, which I called as GHP. I don't know for myself. GHP. One is gratitude. Start with the gratitude. Was be thankful to the Almighty first. Thankful to your parents. Thankful to your family. Thankful to your friend. Thankful to your mentors, coach, ecosystem, everyone. If you are thankful for what you have, everything will start making you happy, and then you will be able to resonate, and whatever happens will be good for you. So gratitude is the first skill set that you everyone need to have, and it's a cultural value that one must have. Second is humility. Humility means humbleness, boss. As you go up the ladder, and this is again I have learned, During initial days, we used to think, okay, we are CAs, we are this, we are that, we have done this, we are different, our designations are this. But as you go up the ladder, I think the humility will help you more. वो पंजाबी में कहावत है, कहते हैं नीवे रुखा नु फल लग दे. जो फल है ना, fruits are mostly with the trees hanging low down.
Right,
If
right.
you're grounded, humble, humanity, you have that perspective of being humble to others, I think will take you up. Sky is the limit. First is gratitude, second is humility, and third is positivity, optimism. Or stay put, positive. Whatever will come, no worries, will be good for me, will take you to. I think these three things have really helped me always.
So this is theory, you know, excellently put, but theory. But tell me something in your career where you faced a problem and you dealt with it positively.
Many. I can speak for this for a whole day. Many incidents. 2008, everything was going through upside down. Again, pandemic period, demonetization, and 2008
How did you deal?
particularly, when I 2008 was the
2008.
time when ICICI was just about to, kind of go through
Yeah.
toughest phase, and then, but one thing which positivity, as I said, and I'm not saying, you rightly said that probably this word look like theory and it's very difficult to practice them. But if you meditate these words, I'm telling you, when I'm speaking this so much, I'm giving signal to my body right now also. Boss, these three things have helped you, and you have to stay put on this. When you keep reminding your body, your mind again catches signal. Your body resonates, all are connected. So I'm saying during that, it's not always that you don't get negative vibes, you are always that positive. But if you feel that whatever bad will happen, I'm prepared for that, then you will have that positive vibes. Okay, nothing, I am a professional, we can face the situation, what worst can go, you are prepared for the worst. That positive vibes will at least help you to be okay, patient, calm. You really don't panic in those situations. And humbleness, I said, why? Because I have seen this and learned from seniors. I still remember during my articleship day, I was supposed to be presenting to a CCIT, one of the case. Trust to me, I didn't had proper sleep whole night because I was wondering that CCIT is going to be a very tough one. How will I present? What kind of questions he will ask? Will I be able to answer him? Will he ask me to get out? You have not prepared yourself. What will happen? I don't know. And I was still an article. But the moment I entered into CCIT cabin and I was holding certain papers, he first of all asked me to sit. He offered a glass of water. I'm never expecting that. He asked me, how are you, what are you doing. He was able to kind of understand and make out that this person is not a full accountant but doing some articleship. And I told him also, he treated me like I felt out. And that, so many immense examples are there, that once you go up the ladder, you have to learn that humility, and that you have to practice also. And finally,
So
gratitude, I said that gratitude, one can only practice this. And thankfulness makes you everything in abundance. You start feeling that I have so much. The moment you start thanking for what you have, now everything become abundance.
true. I see gratitude and humbleness all over your behavior profile. You know, I've seen it always. Uh, for positivity, you know, there are times when you get crushed. You know, what I personally do is every day in the morning, in my bathroom, I play some videos or Bollywood songs. You know, and when I'm very crushed, I sing myself dangal, you know, and that's how I bring back my positivity. Do you also have some systems by which you make yourself positive?
So again, you have touched my personal part during personal things. Again, back to my nostalgic. During CA times, also all that negativity, whether I will pass, not pass, what will happen, my paper is coming, and all of that tensions will keep coming. Somebody told me that playing musical instruments will help you. Okay, That's when I bought a
Okay.
tabla. And somebody said if you play that tabla in all the rhythm, you will kind of mesmerize yourself and your mind will get into a different platform or a different arena and you will forget about all your tension. This has really worked best to me. Not only tabla, I've learned harmonium, piano, congo, and many other instruments. Since then, my daughter, my everyone started, and thankfully, on the spiritual path, because of my father, we have been gradual doing Gurbani and Kirtan. So from that perspective, I think that's the best thing for me, a gift to me from the God, from my family. That helps me staying positive. The meditation part really helps a lot.
We can have a jamming session with our students,
We
alumni,
can
and
definitely,
you.
definitely, when I'm personally there in Delhi, we can definitely do something of that. Yes.
Uh, so, what are the habits which make you successful? Like, everyone has certain habits, which you repeat again and again, and that becomes a DNA for success. What are your success habits?
I'll tell you, during the knowledge training sessions only, over a period of time, I have developed certain acronyms for myself to stay, kind of positive. I love high power. I think I gain power when I keep continuing repeating that high power. One should always have high power. How do you gain high power? You want to gain high power?
Absolutely. Why not? All of us want to.
Absolutely. So let's create a foundation for high power. High, as I said, with the same thing, start with humility.
Ah,
Second is integrity. You integrate. See, most important is once you are humble. Second, make sure about your integrity. Because nothing fake is there, or I will not be doing something which my instinct doesn't allow me, and I will do what is right. Integrity part. G is gratitude, and last H is hope. Once these four things are there, that will put you at a high arena. Then power may certain attributes which I always felt was whatever you want to do with passion, was give your 100% passion, full passion. It should resonate, boss. My passion is outflowing from my body. I want to do this and I have that commitment. In, as you said ना, the entire universe will coincide once. जो शिद्दत वाली बात ना अगर आपकी है, वो पैशन रिफ्लेक्ट होना चाहिए, जो भी आप करो वरना मत करो. पैशन, पावर, वो ओनरशिप, बॉस. अब जो है ये सब मेरा है, इसी के अंदर करना है. Within this, I have to take the ownership, command of whatever is there, own that, and then take it forward. W is winning spirit, boss. I will do it. I will be able to do it. Power. E, put your entire enforcement energy engagement into it. And R is resilience. Resilience means if you fall, fail, don't fear of. Darna mana hai. Don't fear of. So high power is there. Once this high power is there, impossible is possible. And change your fear. Fear is, what do you think fear stands for?
uh,
Any
false
guess?
evidence appearing real.
People say forget everything and run. This is
Yeah.
what people say fear. This is the definition. I say change the definition. From fear to forget everything, run to face everything and rise. Why don't you
Okay.
face everything and rise? So change your definition of fear. And the
Correct.
last one, importantly, I think is a failure. Now, failure itself is fail. First attempt in learning. So it's a learning. Don't worry. It's your first attempt.
So
So
now that
मेरे
you're
को
talking about failure and learning from it, uh, on this show, every friend who comes makes a confession about his career mistake. So because we all learn from mistakes, and I want all the viewers to learn from your mistake. So, what are your career regrets? What mistake do you think you've made in your career, which you would like to amend?
uh, I think one of the mistake which I can there are many mistakes I would have
Okay.
made. Like I used to be very impatient initially. As I said, arrogance should not come in. You should not feel high-headedness should never be there. And another thing is that I had some instinct during when I have become CA, or maybe after so much of qualification, that I know a lot. Because the moment you start thinking your glass is full, na, because everything is done, then
Right.
your growth path will start descending down.
Correct.
This is one of the biggest mistake even I felt I would have done. That is why there was in between a silo that I didn't do upskilling. You will see there is a gap
Yeah.
from 2006 probably. Then I realized maybe around 2016, 18, 10 years gap is there, that I have stopped adding that kind of learning to my growth. So that's where I felt this is a mistake I have done. I could have gained much more had that, maybe a feeling would have got inside me that I know a lot. What is the need of upskilling myself? So if you want to stay put, you stay relevant, you have to continue to upgrade yourself. Otherwise, you'll become redundant, you'll become weird, outdated, and probably then many institution, many people are there who will obviously take over, and then you will start realizing it later on. So that was one of the biggest mistake, I think, which I realized and I covered up, and which has really helped me a lot. And second could be maybe jumping to conclusion, I don't know, that is that many, I don't even exactly think of what how do I list down and say learnings I can tell you is that one of the learning I was always look at, don't look at micro pictures. This is also again a learning. See, sometimes what happens is that what we can see immediately in front of us, we think this is the right, and this mistake we generally do in the initial career. Once you start upgrading, you have to look at big picture. No, I was reading somewhere somebody said that I was going to a meeting and I just put up the blazer and I was just about to move out, and my wife said that you are not wearing formals. He said I'm wearing my coat, I'm wearing formals, but he didn't realize he was wearing a jeans also. It's a very funny example that I'm just sharing. Probably sometime we're just looking at a micro thing which is just in front of us. We forget to look at a bigger picture.
Correct.
So
Correct.
that really helps. If and having always a coach and a mentor.
Yes.
Again, read about a big doctor who was a gold medalist, and he also felt that okay, I am the best of the best, and probably people need to learn from me. I really don't need to watch out what I am doing. And later on, somebody told him that his progress has been again descending. So he got a coach and realized that the coach with for whom he was expecting will not have any observation after the coach observed him in operation theater, came out with almost 10 pages of observation. And those observation was as simple as that, saying that once you do an operation, your hand goes out in the air, which you don't even realize. Once you're
Correct.
doing an operation, you don't realize that light is just on your head and you're not able to see. So it's a very very small example. I'm saying that, you know, I also probably got a mentor at a very late stage.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's because I never hunted or looked around for. So one should probably look at for guidance much in the beginning, because sometimes what you are doing you think is right, but you are not the one person who have actually walked that path.
So that's very valuable advice and an amazing learning that we have got. Your mistake in your career was a gap in learning. Otherwise, you
Correct.
would be a president in
I would
12
have,
years
I
instead of
would have,
20.
I don't know, president, whatever, but I would have been much bigger personality, better for me, because more learned than what I am, I would have gained more. But
Absolutely.
again, here, two more things I want to say is learning is not that important. Using that into practice is more important. We may keep consolidating so much of learnings, but as long as we don't put that into practice, it is useless. Important is gain that learning, put that into practice, make that as a habit and make that as a culture for you. So if you said now this could be theory, probably 2 3 points I said, but one has to make that as part of your culture, which will happen only when you practice and meditate.
Correct.
You can do anything possible probably if you have that practice meditation and consistency. Consistency is the key.
So, with a lot of advice that you've given, what is that one secret that you would like to share with TKW's IBF alumni, students, and all the young professionals watching this show? How can they grow to the very top of the organization faster than you?
वन टॉप एडवाइस मैंने अभी बोला लास्ट वाला ही था कि फियर, डरना मना है. डोंट फियर ऑफ एनीथिंग, डोंट फियर फ्रॉम फेलियर. एंड वो कहते हैं ना, कोशिश करने वालों की कभी हार नहीं होती, है ना. लहरों से डरकर नौका पार नहीं होती. नन्ही चींटी जब दाना लेकर चलती है, चढ़ती दीवारों पर 100 बार फिसलती है. मन का विश्वास रगों में साहस भरता है. यूं ही उसकी मेहनत बेकार नहीं होती, कोशिश करने वालों की कभी हार नहीं होती.
So, this is one
कहते
poem I
हैं.
repeat to myself.
सो अनदर थिंग इज दैट डुबकियां, वो कहते हैं डुबकियां सिंध में गोताखोर लगाता है, जा जाकर खाली हाथ लौट कर आता है. यूं ही नहीं मिलते सहजे मोती
Teji Moti.
गहरे पानी में, है ना. तो उसके बाद है कि असफलता एक चुनौती है, इसे स्वीकार करो. तो द फेलियर, आई वाज जस्ट सेइंग, फेलियर में असफलता एक चुनौती है, इसे स्वीकार करो. क्या कमी रह गई? द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग इज वेयर यू मेड अ मिस्टेक इज इंपॉर्टेंट. असफलता एक चुनौती है, उसे स्वीकार करो. क्या कमी रह गई, उस पर विचार करो, सुधार करो. एंड कुछ किए बिना यूं ही जय जयकार नहीं होती, कोशिश करने वालों की कभी हार नहीं होती. सो दिस इज वन थिंग विच आई कीप टेलिंग टू माई सेल्फ वेन एवर आई फील डाउन, दैट नो वरीज, फेलियर
Awesome.
will be there, but you should know how to bounce back, get back on track, and that will take you to the next level very fast. That should
So,
resonate from your body. Yes.
thank you so much. It's been really inspiring, really educating, and we've learned great ideas from you. I'm sure each one watching this session would have been inspired. I request everyone to not just enjoy this session again, but watch the recording again, make your notes, and make sure that you implement. Even if you implement half of what was discussed, I am sure we are going to have you on this show soon, responding to my questions because you will be the next CEO. Thank you so
Okay.
much, Harpreet. Thanks for sharing your
Thank
knowledge
you.
with everyone.
Thank you so much. Thanks again for the opportunity. Thank you so much. Bye bye.
Thanks.